Hi guys, sorry it's been a while, but it's time for another Onewheel 101 series video. Actually have a filmer this time, so hopefully it'll look a little bit better. And I got audio, so we should have decent audio quality. And I was trying to think about what would be the next thing that would be most important to learn or most fun after you've already figured out. If you follow my other videos, you know what pushback is, you're going to be safe, you got your gear, you're you're starting to get proficient in mounts and dismounts. So what would be next? And I thought probably 180s because it will help you with your board control. It's fun. You don't want to have to get off your board and turn it around to go another direction. It'd be nice to be able to do 180s in place, or at least in a very small radius. So I'm going to teach you the best way to do 180s. The best way to learn them is going to start on the grass because it's softer if you fall. It's going to be easier on your board if you tumble it, which you shouldn't really. And it's going to be much, much easier to spin the tire because if you see my other videos, I'm redoing these because I've got some new insights I can add, and we're going to increase the production value a little bit, hopefully. The surface of your tire is relatively flat. It's very, very grippy. It's made for go-kart racing tires. They're made to be super, super grippy. The rubber molecules actually will expand before they let loose, so they're made to stick very hard to grippy surfaces. So we're going to put it on a nice non-grippy surface on grass, so it'll spin a lot more readily than on concrete or asphalt. And I'm going to try to show you at first just how to do it flat. We're going to add a little bit of edge rolling technique in a little bit later. So the first thing to do is start getting comfortable with the idea of turning your board. And what I like to say is the last thing that turns is your feet. So I want to go that direction. I want to get my head turned, get my arms swung around, and the last thing that turns is my feet because you're trying to turn a very heavy board. So I'm going to turn, and then finally turn your body. Now, there's a little bit more to it than that, but get that concept down first. So you're going to get balanced, get everything turned, and then your feet. So practice that on grass, and you may find that you only get a little bit. Well, get what you can. So start by getting the feeling for inch at a time. Just little bits. You can even start doing this number. Swing it around a little bit. All that's going to help your board control. All that's going to prepare you for eventually getting a 180. And you're going to find a lot of time you're only going to get a little bit. So turn the rest if you want. Roll over onto the edge of the tire and turn. So, everybody knows what a 180 is. You got an idea kind of what we're going to do. So I'm going to start giving you techniques and tips that are going to make it smoother. Especially if you've tried it on concrete and asphalt, it's much, much harder. On grass, it's a lot easier. So that's going to help you get your balance down. You'll start getting used to the whole turning your whole body first. You can like I've seen some people say, put one hand out in front of you and pull it towards you. I think that kind of helps. You kind of get that to get a little
Okay.
momentum going, whatever it takes to get you used to getting your body weight shifted so that your board will follow. And I've mentioned in my other video, but we'll go ahead and go over it again. Since you have this big flat area that you're trying to grind across the ground, we want to reduce the amount of surface area between the tire and the ground. And so there's a couple ways of doing that. One is going to be weight distribution, and one is going to be edge rolling. And I call it edge rolling because if you roll onto your edge of your tire, you no longer have the big flat area. You're now using just the edge. It's more of a tangent point than 2 points that are pancaked upon each other. So what you're going to do is lean back or forward, depending. If you're going to be turning backside, you're actually going to roll back onto your back edge towards your heels. So get used to that balancing. That's also going to be challenging at first. And you won't need it so much in the grass, but you're going to need it on more grippy surfaces. You're going to lean back onto your heels and turn. You'll find that it's easier than keeping it flat. That's not necessary, but it's a good thing to practice. You're going to need that for a lot of things. So start getting the idea of rolling onto the edge, keeping your balance. If you can do it at a standstill, that's great. And then you don't need to hold it there for a long time. You can just roll real quick and then get your 180. And the next thing is weight distribution. And you can even ignore the edge rolling if you get good at weight distribution. And it's going to feel better because the edge rolling is a little bit challenging at first. So the two most important things, and this will get you your 180s. The edge rolling is going to be just a little bit of seasoning. So if you just want to get it, the fastest way to get there, point A to B, would be work on the first thing I taught you, which is everything first, feet go last. That gets you that nice swing. You're using the weight of your body, your whole body, to bully that 30-pound board around. The second most important, what I call, would be weight distribution, your weight versus the board. You want to turn the board. If you want to get this board to turn, it's a lot easier to turn just the 30-pound board than the 30-pound board plus your body weight. If you're heavy on the board, you're going to be grinding all the way across. The board will rotate much easier without me on it than with me on it. And so how do you do that while you're on the board? Jump. So we do a little mini jump. You don't leave the board, but your feet are barely going to be on the grip tape. You're barely touching. So you'll notice that people that do really smooth 180s, they're going to get their body turned first, and they're going to do a little jump. Just a little bit of a lightening. You're getting really, really light on the board, so your feet are barely touching. The more you do that, the less work it takes to move the 30-pound board. So you're going to get yourself turned, and then kind of get a little bit light on your feet. Notice how smooth it just turns, nice and smooth, because you're just moving the weight of the board. My feet are barely touching the grip tape as I spin around. So smooth. That's what you have to practice. So you're going to have to coordinate a couple things together. You have to coordinate the turn, the jump. If you want to put an edge roll in there, then it gets really smooth. But start with the main two things. Get a little consistent on the grass with that, and then you're going to try it on concrete or asphalt, and you'll be thinking, this is much, much harder. And it is. Okay, we're going to move over here to concrete. Concrete is much grippier than grass. It's even grippier than asphalt. You would think it wouldn't be, because asphalt has kind of like a lot of like texture to it, more texture. But you do have more contact surface area between concrete, and that may be why. I'm not sure of the science behind it. But your racing go-kart tire has been designed, they're perfecting it for decades to try to make this thing stick as hard as it can to concrete and asphalt. That's what they're designed for, especially a slick tire like the Vega that came with your Onewheel, or I'm riding a Hoosier, a little more rounded tire. So you need to counter all of that. And so all the things that I just taught you in grass are going to counter that. You can roll onto the edge, which will give you a little bit less surface area on the concrete, and then getting light, and then bullying it, getting some strength into it, which is turning everything first and feet last. So we combine all that together, and it does work. It's just a little bit harder. So don't get discouraged if you move from grass to concrete or asphalt and it doesn't seem like it's turning as easily. You do need to combine all those things, but if you do, it's still nice and smooth. You can probably hear it grind across the concrete a little bit. And so if you find you're not getting it, do like we did in the grass. Just get an inch. Try to get a couple, and you're noticing I'm still getting that little bit of jump, even to get an inch, because it's my reflex. If I try to do it without, it feels awkward to me. So if you're, especially if you film yourself, kind of like I'm doing here, you may notice yourself being stiff-legged and trying to do it, and it's just not going. So try to get that, bend your knees and get light on your feet as you turn. And you have to do it pretty quick. You got to do a pretty aggressive motion. That's why I think it's helpful to do a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. You do that for a little while, and you just increase the number of degrees of rotation, and you start to get it. So hopefully this is enough. This may be too much. This may be a little boring. I try to give as much detail as possible on how to do a 180. It works the same every which direction that you want to turn. It's just going to be a different lean. One more thing to mention, I guess is probably pretty important, is try to keep the board level. If you start turning if you end up leaning your foot, if you're a skateboarder, you may find that you do this. I think I did when I first started. I tended to put more weight on the tail, because that's how you do on a skateboard. You lift the tail and then you turn. But on the Onewheel, you need to stay nice and level. If you try to put too much weight on one side or the other, the motor will engage, and it'll shoot off, and you put your hand down. So helmet, wrist guards, possibly knees and elbows if you really think you're going to need it, and then just get yourself a couple inches until you can get the whole 180. 360s are the same thing, except instead of turning all my weight and looking this way, I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to look all the way behind me. If you find that you think you're doing everything right, you think you're getting light, and you're just not getting all the way around, try to give yourself a little bit of a mental push. Instead of looking directly where you want to go, look a little further. look over your shoulder, good, all the way behind you a little bit, get your head really turned, and that'll help kind of get your body to fill in the blanks. And I'm going to look way over there, and you get plenty of turn. So that's 180s for the Onewheel 101 series. This is Chris Richardson. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to learn. I'll see if I can put together a quick video and help you out. I'd love to see people learning and getting better at riding their boards and enjoying their Onewheels. It's an amazing machine. Nothing else compares to it. There's a new Pint coming out, smaller version. As soon as I get mine, I'll be making a video and let you guys know what I think. So ride on, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like for me to make, any new videos, and I'll be sure to get on it.